We're headed into week 7 of college football, which means we're at the halfway point, and it's time to start updating the prospect rankings. I already did quarterbacks a couple of days ago, and now we head to the defensive side of the football with the cornerback class. I'm going to give you my top 10 in this video, but stick with me until the end. I'm going to cover some of the guys who just missed the list, but first we got to do an intro. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, that beautiful, that football discourse. Let's go ahead, get this sucker started with number 10, Chris Abrams, DeJean out of Mizzou, coming in at 5'11", 178. So you look at the size, it's like not ideal, but is what it is. We'll talk about some of the things he does good, some of the things he does bad, but he was formerly a 3-star recruit from the 2020 class, and he was actually initially recruited as a receiver, but he did play quarterback his senior year. He also returned kicks and punts, and he was actually the runner-up to Mr. Football in Alabama, and ended up losing that to Kool-Aid McKinstry, who we'll talk about later on this list. He played 5 games as a receiver his freshman season before actually making the transition to corner. And then in 2021, he played in all 13 games with 10 starts, with 8 of those coming in the slot. He was also a really good return man, as he had 22 kick returns for over 500 yards and a tutty. That's right. I'm going to keep saying tutty. I love that word. Then last season, he started all 12 games on the outside. He was a boundary corner. You love that. He did miss the Florida game with an injury, but he has been fantastic this year. He actually, at least among this list, has the most ball skills, or at least the most ball production, as he has 6 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. He is a very, very natural mover, very quick feet. You've seen this in a variety of different ways, whether it's like how explosive he is out of his back pedal, the movement skills, the change of direction, the closing speed. Like, he's already got a good feel for the position, despite really only playing this full time a couple of seasons ago. Already has a really, really great feel. Also reads and reacts well. The natural ball skills leads you to believe he was formerly a receiver. See what I did there? Because he was formerly a receiver. He's actually got really good length, and he plays the catch point exceptionally well. You can legitimately see him make plays on the ball and try to work leverage like he is a receiver. He brings those return chops, as well, as I kind of already discussed, how good of a returner he was back in 2021. However, you look at his size and it's like, okay, slot corner size. He was primarily played in the slot in 2021, but he played primarily on the outside last season. We have seen smaller corners be able to succeed in the NFL, and not having those length deficiencies, because that 30-inch threshold when it comes to your arm length is a real thing. You see very few corners succeed on the outside with sub 30-inch arms. I mean, Roger McCreary literally kicked into the slot this season at Tennessee. If you're unfamiliar, I think a couple of the guys that actually do start on the outside, you got like Dante Jackson, Darius Williams, probably the best of them right now. Very good corner there. There are times where he will get baited into double moves by the receivers, or kind of like buy into the quarterback's eye candy, so he could be a bit aggressive in, like, overly aggressive in coverage. But this year, he's just been fantastic. A guy that, honestly, I want to move up higher, but like, I want to say size is a real thing. I want to get confirmation on the length, and I think that'll make me feel better about moving him up further in this list. But he has been phenomenal. Let's go ahead to number 9, and it's Josh Newton out of TCU. Another guy having a pretty solid season. As you can see, he has 3 pass breakups, got an interception. He's only allowed 138 yards in coverage this year. And coming in at 6 foot, 190, I think he is the oldest on my list here, as he is going to be 23 by the time of the start of his rookie year in the NFL. But he's a former 2-star recruit from the 2018 class, which was very intriguing. Initially, he was actually another guy recruited as a receiver. He goes to Louisiana Monroe, where he redshirts his freshman season and makes the transition from receiver to corner. And then from there on out, he started almost every game for those Louisiana Monroe. They're the Warhawks, right? I think they're the Warhawks. But he almost started every game from them for the next 3 seasons, decided to make the transfer last year to TCU, and he ended up starting all 15 games. We thought this guy was coming out for sure. He was first team all Big 12, but he decides to return for one more season with the Horned Frogs, and he's been good. The team may not be that good this season, but he has been good. This guy is a very, very physical corner, loves just dictating where and how fast the receiver is and where he may go. He knows how to use the sideline to his advantage and give quarterbacks basically little room for error. He will stick. He'll just stick in the receiver's hip pocket, and he does a good job of just reading both the quarterback and the receiver's eyes. He's a legit press contender in this class, though. You're gonna see we got actually quite a few of those guys. True nose for the football. As you'll see through the course of his career, he actually has 7 interceptions and 26 pass breakups. So a lot of ball production from him. In run defense, very sure tackler. His tackle rate's up to 15%, but that's honestly not bad for a corner. It really, really isn't. And he doesn't mind having to engage in blocks with wide receivers. He's also a guy that is a natural born leader. He's kind of the leader of the defense this season. You could go back, you saw it as a Warhawk, you see it as a Horned Frog. However, the first thing I kind of noticed on his tape, and this is part of his last year evaluation, I think it kind of carries to this season, is that I just couldn't get a good read on how truly fast he was. Like going back and watching the Oklahoma State and Iowa State game in 2022, he seemed pretty average in terms of speed. But then you go to the Texas tape, and he lined up in the slot with Xavier Worthy, who might be one of the fastest receivers in this class, and he went stride for stride down the field with him. Like comparing the routes, it seems he struggles with maybe suddenness and could be a tick late to just a tick late on his brakes and when having to turn and run with receivers. I think that might be it, but I am very curious how he's going to test out. Also, this is a very physical corner. This really pertains to last season. This season, I haven't seen it so much, but fun fact, I've watched all of 2 TCU games this year, so but I did notice last season there were a lot of cases where he was very lucky not to draw a flag with how physical he is. He's a guy that does like to be physical, and just sometimes sometimes he needs to be more discreet with his hands, because I don't think he's going to get that luxury at the next level. But he was someone that was coming into the year in my pre-season rankings that was literally just on the verge. So moved him up a couple of spots here now that we're 5 to 6 games in. Let's go ahead to number 8, and it's TJ Tampa out of Iowa State. Dude, a big boy. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got a huge wing length as well. Wingspan's the word I'm looking for. He's got a huge wingspan. Has 4 pass breakups already this season. Did allow a touchdown in the last game against TCU, but I mean, that's the only touchdown he's allowed all season. He's another guy, I think, didn't I just say Josh Noonan has only allowed 138 yards this season? Same for Tampa, kind of insane. But he's a former 3-star recruit from the 2020 class. Did play basketball back in high school, and that'll kind of pertain a little bit more to his eval. He, as a freshman, he was basically a special teamer. Got his start in 2021, but became the full-time starter just last season, where he made second team all Big 12. He's a long corner, and he's actually a very explosive athlete. He flashes very good recovery speed, displays just good strength on top of his length, and he's just been ferocious at the catch point. Last season, his completion rate allowed was 46.5. This year, it's 46.4. So, well, down 0.1. Very nice. He plays with very quick feet, knows when to flip his hips and get vertical with pass catchers. And I really like just the route recognition and the ability to get his head around and make a play on the football. I think last season he had 8 pass breakups. And since he is a bigger corner, shouldn't be that surprising. He's actually a pretty solid run defender. This season, his tackle rate's 6.9. So pretty darn good. He also brings a lot of special teams experience, so you do love that. With being a taller quarterback, like he is very high in his back pedal, which kind of it makes him a little less fluid and a little less explosive. So you would like to see him get lower, but I understand with taller guys, it's going to be a little bit tougher. I would like to see him be a little bit more proactive in man coverage rather than kind of letting the action come to him. Like he has the length and the size to kind of lay hands on receivers, and I really want to see him layeth the smackdown on some of these guys. But got a midday 2 grade on him, feeling really good about him. He's just overall a really good athlete. Number 7 is Dwight McGlothern out of Arkansas. He was someone I was pretty high on coming into the season, and he did drop a few spots for me. Part of that we'll talk about is I feel like some of the guys ahead of him are just better athletes. Another part of that is he's currently out injured with a concussion. Got a concussion again in the Texas A&M game that he didn't play in the Ole Miss game. So I'm kind of hoping he returns this week, especially for a big game against Alabama. But Dwight McGlothern coming in at 6'2", 188, nickname McGlove. Gotta love it. Former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class, played both sides of the football, and in his high school career with over 2,500 receiving yards and 34 touchdowns. He also did track and field where he did the 200 and 400 meters. Also did the high jump and the long jump. And this past summer, he helped organize a free youth football camp for kids. So gotta love that. He initially was a recruit by LSU, where he saw significant snaps in the final 2 games of his freshman season. And then in 2021, he had 6 starts while playing in 10 games, but decided to transfer after the year. I didn't find a specific reason why. To be fair, I didn't look it up hard enough. So I guess let me know in the comment section below. But last season, started all 13 games for Arkansas. It was a brilliant year, really, man. He had 4 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, made second team all SEC. And honestly, I felt like until the concussion, he was probably on, was gonna match some of those numbers, especially the interception numbers already like through, well, we could call it 5 games. He had 2 interceptions. However, he only played 1 snap in the Kent State game. And I think he was on a pitch count in the BYU game. And then he only played 22 snaps in the Texas A&M game. So guy's making ball skills despite dealing with a little injury there. I don't know what his injury was, though, in the Kent State game. Whatever it was enough to where it was like they kind of, again, they played him on a pitch count the following week against BYU, which kind of sucks. They ended up losing that game, but kind of is what it is. But really like this cat's size. I love his length. He covers ground pretty quickly because he's got these long strides, flashes really good ball skills, obviously. And I mean, former receiver back in high school. Remember, 34 receiving touchdowns. Shows a good understanding and anticipation of routes. He clicks and closes pretty darn quickly, and he has had a few pick sixes in his career thus far. Really powerful hands and is just a nuisance at the catch point. Like, he shows good hand-eye coordination and displays that the peanut punch to be able to knock the ball out. So if you're a receiver and you come down with the football on McGlothern or McGlove, then you probably have earned it because he's going to be in there trying to knock that sucker away. He did force 2 fumbles last season. This year, did he force a fumble? Yeah, he has forced a fumble this season. So look at that, dude. Watch out, man. A guy that likes to knock the ball loose. That length really helps him as a tackler. Really helps him just show that physicality, whether it's during the route or coming up in run defense. straight line speed, and I think is good. I think he comes downhill with good speed as well. Very fluid hips. Just overall, I think he's a good athlete. I do think he is a bit clunky changing directions. Might be more of a straight line guy. And there are times where he will struggle to mirror quicker, shiftier, more nuanced receivers. Like often this kind of leads to him being more handsy, though he hasn't been flagged this season with a penalty, but also he's only played 154 snaps. There are some times he just needs to secure the tackle than rather stripping and clawing for the football. There were cases where he let up big gains in 2022 because he really wanted to rip the ball loose. But all in all, man, really good player that I'm a big fan of, and hopefully he can get healthy. At number 6, I got Denzel Burke at Ohio State. So Alex from Hail Mary Sports was really high on him coming into the season, and not to say I wasn't. I think I had him as a top 50 guy. It was just like you could tell last season he was kind of playing beat up, and like his best stretch was near the end of the season there in 2022. So it was like, oh yeah, so yeah, this guy should bounce back in 2023. But I was kind of like, I want to see it before I believe it. But Burke coming in here, 6'1", 190, former 4-star recruit from Scottsdale, Arizona. That's a little north of me, but played wide receiver, played defensive back. Shoulder injury is heading into his senior year, kind of sucked. But he only played one game that year. But went to Ohio State. I do have to say, the shoulder injury, I put a red flag for it because I guess I should just go through the year by year real quick. Okay, so senior year, played one game because of shoulder injury. Then goes to Ohio State, started all 13 games as a freshman, was first team all freshman. 2022, started 11 games, missed the Wisconsin game with a finger injury, and he also missed the Indiana game. He suited up for both. He also struggled through a shoulder injury through preseason camp. So, okay, shoulder injuries. Don't know if this is something you should worry about moving forward. It's just something I took note of. So there's kind of the red flag with him, but I really thought he has bounced back. Like last season, he had a knack for giving up the big play. He allowed 5 receptions for 25 plus yards with 2 being touchdowns. But again, guy probably wasn't playing 100% most of the year. And this year, he has been phenomenal. He's allowed a completion rate of 42.3%. He's only allowed 119 yards, has an interception, has 5 pass breakups. They didn't even throw his way in the Notre Dame game. Dude's got a long frame, great athlete, plays with very powerful hands. Like we're looking at this cat like ideal like press corner traits. Legit jumper. Like I think his vert's going to be nuts. It's going to be up there with a lot of the other guys here on this list. And I just like how he high points the football. And fun fact, first pick was a pick 6 back in 2021, yes. Let's see what else we get. Press technique solid, jabs can be debilitating to route timing. I like how he deals with shifty receivers underneath. He just kind of he's able to stick with their quicks athletically, and then he's able to just kind of like play physical with them. Like penalties, I don't really think have been a problem for him. There's no fear from him in the run game, though. Missed tackles have been a theme this year for him. He had 2 in the Western Kentucky game, which I don't know if they were on. Pardon me, I didn't watch the game, but if it was Malachi Corley, then ain't nobody can bring that freight train down. But again, no fear in the run game. The missed tackle problem is something to take note of. I will say a little sloppy in his transition. He just simply kind of reacts late when running with the receivers. He could probably plant his foot when coming down hill quicker. He could probably turn and run with the receiver a little bit quicker. I don't know if there's a little skittishness to open up his hips too early there, but The play this season's been really, really good. This is a name you ought to look out for in the back end of the first round. And then number 5, I got Kamari Lassiter out of Georgia. He was also part of all these bigger press corners that I said could probably improve their stock. And I think I was talking about like Lassiter, I talked about Burke, and I talked about Jason Marshall. Those were like the 3 guys I talked about in my preseason rankings. And well, 2 of those guys have kind of shown out. Let's not talk about Jason Marshall. Woof, woof, woof. But Kamari Lassiter coming in at 6 foot, 180, former 4-star recruit from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, decided to go to Georgia. Oh man. But he was mainly a special teamer his freshman season. Last year, he started all 15 games, and this is his second year as a full-time starter. Would like for him to add a little bulk to his frame because he loves playing a physical style of football. But it kind of is what it is. I think he's really become a lot more consistent this season, and he's just shut down. Like, nice long frame. He shows up as a tackler. The length just shows up in press. It shows up at the catch point. Displays really good route recognition. Like, they're really opting not to really throw his way. They tried to do it in the Kentucky game, couldn't get anything done. They tried to do it in the South Carolina game, couldn't get anything done. Really couldn't. Yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. I think he uses his hands generally well in coverage, does a good job for the most part of keeping his hands discreet. And thus far, he's cut down on penalties. I think he had 5 last season. This year, he has only 1. So you love to see it. I think he's become more of a technician this season. And he's kind of in that fringe first day or first day mold right now. A guy at the back end, you're like, man, my team, I would really want a corner, but some of the top guys are right now off the board. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals, and guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. At number 4, I got Kalen King coming in at 5'11", 191 at Penn State. He actually plays there with his twin brother, Kobe, but he was formerly a 4-star recruit from the 2021 class and started only 1 game his freshman season, but in 2022, started every game being paired up with Joey Porter Jr. to form a very formidable duo there, making second team all Big 12. And the dude just plays the corner position how you expect it to be played. He plays it with good physicality. He shows very good discipline, instincts, the willingness to throw his body around, throw caution to the wind, and just constantly puts himself in the action. He clicks and closes quickly. He reads and reacts quickly, comes downhill with a good head of steam, just constantly a nuisance in the quick game, the run game, the screen game. If it's around line of scrimmage, then it's kind of his, and he has shown ball skills, even though hasn't shown them this season, only 1 pass breakup, but he hasn't been thrown to nearly as much. But last season, he had 3 interceptions and 9 pass breakups. Good fluid athlete, able to mirror pass catchers in the short to intermediate. I do kind of worry about him down the field, or at least having to run with guys vertically, because I don't think he's an elite athlete, but I think he's an above average athlete. I think he's good enough for the position. There are times I feel like he's a bit tall in his back pedal, or when he's given cushion, he doesn't necessarily get low enough to be able to get that explosiveness to come downhill, or low enough to have I think he can be much smoother when transitioning his hips, and that'll kind of come when you're lower and able to kind of explode out of a break and whatnot. He is a little shorter Like 5'11", it's not bad, but 5'11" is still on the shorter end. But regardless, man, a lot of people have him as corner 2. I'm still a big fan. I got him listed as a top 20 prospect in this class. But my cornerback 3 is Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. If you watched my preseason rankings on the corner class and you stayed till the end of the video, I mentioned 2 players that I thought by the end of the season could end up being first rounders, and Nate Wiggins was one of the guys I talked about. And I think he is there. Coming in at 6'2", 185. Yeah, you look at that size, kind of needs to put more bulk on the body. He is a bit thin, but he was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class, played in all 11 games his freshman season, but he struggled on and off the field. He skipped class and football required events. He was just in the doghouse with Dabo Swinney, and Dabo even called him out publicly as immature. But I mean, despite him struggling with maturity issues his first year there at Clemson, like Swinney and the rest of the coaching staff have praised him during that summer entering the 2022 season just for his personal growth. Matter of fact, in his first start was kind of a disaster against Wake Forest, but then he bounced back and ended up having a solid season. That 2022 season, he ended up being a first-team All-ACC. Again, bouncing back after a very atrocious opening week. And this year, he has been pretty darn good. Teams don't want to throw his way, and he has an interception. He has a pass breakup. I don't believe he played in their last game. Who did Clemson play? I want to say it was it Wake Forest? I don't think that's true. I think it is Wake Forest. I'm not positive. Don't quote me. But he didn't play this past week. But he is a long defender with really good athleticism and really good length, very fluid movement skills. Just all in all, great athlete. Love the greasy hips when transitioning from his back pedal. He's speedy. He could hang with vertical threats. He's shown short area quicks. And this dude was huge last season where he had 10 pass breakups and he even had a pick 6 that went 98 yards. Which the dude in high school actually took care of return duty. So he's got some ability as a ball carrier. I kind of already touched up, needs to put on a little bit of muscle, just kind of lacks that physicality to his game. And there will be times when he does want to get physical, he just gets too grabby, especially if he gets hit with a double move or if he's presented with misdirection in the backfield. Sometimes he just kind of gets grabby, or when he's getting out muscled, he'll get too grabby. Don't think he's been flagged for a penalty this season, but all in all, this guy is someone with all of the talent. Buku talent. At number 2, it's Cooper DeJean out of Iowa, coming in at 6'1", 207. Some people say he's a safety. He could probably also play in the slot. I got him here on my course list because I think he could play on the outside too. I think he kind of do whatever the heck he wants, man. He's that talented. Matter of fact, he has a punt return this season for a touchdown. So he's kind of that guy. If you're unfamiliar, this dude's got some pedigree. Cooper DeJean, former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class from Battle Creek, Ida Grove High School at Ida Grove, Iowa. But he played both quarterback and defensive back in high school. He also played basketball, baseball, and ran track. His parents were All-American athletes at Huron University. Dad played basketball, mom played softball. He is the state of Iowa's, in terms of high school, second leading scorer all time behind Minnesota Vikings legend. I say legend. Iowa Hawkeyes legend. Current Minnesota Vikings tight end. TJ Hawkinson, which actually puts him ahead. I always put this in here. Puts him ahead of Sacramento Kings forward Harrison Barnes. I just find it funny that the two guys ahead of Barnes are football players. I just think it's kind of funny. He had one of the fastest 100-yard dashes of any runner during the state meet during his senior season. Did choose to play defensive back for Iowa rather than accepting an offer to play quarterback at South Dakota State. Last year, he was a first-team All-Big Ten, and he was the Music City Bowl MVP. Just an incredible athlete that probably could have played any sport he wanted. Like, he's got good speed. He can play. He plays with good physicality. He's agile, very disciplined, as those Iowa secondary players are. They are disciplined. They are asked to do a lot. Good short area quicks. Love the closing speed underneath. Breaks on the ball in a hurry could be a scary thing because he legit can create turnovers and turn them into pick sixes. He had 3 just last season. He has no problem marrying any variety of pass catchers, tracks the ball well in air, plays with good balance, loose hips, one of the best run defenders last season, and he's still one hell of a run defender this year, though the missed tackle rate is up a little bit. It's at 11%, which isn't bad for a corner. I will say I do think he's kind of high out of the back pedal, which takes away from a little bit of the steam he can play with. And I'm kind of curious if he can play in press. I don't doubt that he can. Just because of his physical makeup and his athletic ability, I feel like he can do that. But I am curious if he. I guess I am curious if he can, just because we haven't seen it a ton. He could take better angles when pursuing ball carriers, but kind of a nitpick here and there, man. Like, Hubert DeJean's freaking phenomenal. Top 20 prospect to me. Let's go ahead and get to number 1, because everyone knows it's Kool-Aid McKinstry. His real name, Quincy. That's kind of cool. Quincy Kool-Aid McKinstry, former 5-star recruit out of the 2021 class. He was nicknamed Kool-Aid by his grandmother because he had a smile, because of his smile as a baby. So I guess he looked like the Kool-Aid man as a baby. He just had that smile. Oh, yeah. Oh man. He played in all 15 games as a freshman with Alabama with 6 starts, made SEC all-freshman team. Last season, he started all 13 games while also handling return duties. He was a second-team All-American, coming in at 6'1", 195, lean and lanky build, but not bad weight at all. He has put positive weight on coming into the season, and I think he looks fine. Great blend of length, speed, explosiveness. Really good at attacking downfield. Shows good short area quicks. I really like how he uses his hands, whether it's at the line of scrimmage and press, during the route, at the catch point. He's got that peanut punch we talk about. And in zone, he's very instinctive, reads and reacts quickly. He displays just good route anticipation. We saw last season he had 15 pass breakups. It was something big, right? 16 pass breakups last season. He's got 2 this season. His completion rate this year is a 52.4%. The dude's playing good football. He really, really is. We could nitpick some of the things about him. Like, I talked about the return abilities, but he did muff 2 kicks in 2022. So, and in the NFL, your star corner is probably not going to be returning kicks. So, just saying. Does get a little handsy. Hasn't been flagged this year, but also in college, sometimes they're a little too lenient with what they allow. At least in comparison to the NFL. That's another thing why college is just better. I feel like the refs are always better. I guess for the most part. I don't know. Kind of is what it is, but man, I'm a big fan of Kool-Aid. I really thought, long and hard, has anyone really unseated him as cornerback 1 in this class? Because I've seen sometimes, I don't know if it's just mock drafts trying to be different, or maybe people really honestly feel there are better corners in this class. But for me, I look at Kool-Aid McKinstry, I was like, nah, this dude's kind of a blue chipper. He's kind of that guy. But let's talk about some of the guys that just missed out on the list briefly and quickly here. I had at number 11, Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest. Just hasn't been an ideal year for him. So honestly, a guy that I don't think he returns, but he can. He's only a redshirt junior. Quinion Mitchell, he's going to need an all-star circuit, but golly, he's going to be in that day 2 conversation, man. He really, really is. Kobe Bryant, still, not the Black Mamba, but for Kansas, still thin as hell, but I just love the way that he plays the game. I think he's a younger guy as well. I think he is he's a true junior, so he might not even come out. But I'm a big fan of his. We got Kyrie Jackson out of Oregon. I loved how this dude played against Colorado. I was like, he looks like a man among boys. And quite frankly, he actually is a man among boys. I think you can go check out one of my stock reports where I talk about him. But he was originally from the 2017 recruiting class. Spent 4 years in the community college scene until going to play for Alabama for 2 years. And now he's here at Oregon. But he's playing really good football. Like he's honestly probably a plug and play. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. You look at his athletic and physical ability, and it's like, no, man, this guy looks like he's probably ready for the NFL. You could probably plug and play him. It's just he's not going to be younger than some of these guys in this class. A lot of people might be asking Max Melton. I don't think he's having a big year, so I think he's probably more early day 3. Jason Marshall, golly, dude's got to return to school, right? This year's kind of been not great for him. Yeah, I think he returns to school. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. There's a lot of corners we could talk about in this class. Didn't talk about the Auburn duo. Didn't talk about Frentrell. Cypress out of Florida State. I'm probably going to get a little bit of Cam Hart out of Notre Dame in the comment section below. But let me know what you think. Give me more names. I don't mind adding guys to my watch list. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.